Hi, levelers here. Sorry about that. Off to a little bit of a rocky start here. Just have not been live in quite a while. It's actually my first live in 2025, but it's actually been over a year since I've done a live, so a little bit rusty here. Forgive me, but here I am. I'm ready to go. I'm rocking my new GoHighlevel luau gear. And that's just to let everybody know to celebrate. I'm on a 7-day countdown now. So I'm currently in St. Louis. It's sunny and about 18 degrees, pretty cold outside. But in about 7 days, I am going to be flying to the sweet spot of Cancun, Mexico, where I will begin my worldwide journey for I don't know how many number of years, but I will not be back to the U.S. I'm just going to be traveling as a digital nomad and taking my sort of video and business on the road. So stay tuned. It's going to be kind of exciting to hear that. But I really wanted to do a live because I really miss these. I miss being sort of live here and being able to communicate with people. So let me just see if I can, see. I have to check over here, and I've got a couple different things going on here, but want to make sure that we're good to go. Audio is good and everything. So right now, what I wanted to do is kind of cover the email settings inside of HighLevel. It can be a little bit frustrating, to say the least. Honestly, dealing with HighLevel support regarding emails, how to set emails up for those people that do prospecting, if you do cold email outreach, those type of things. I want to sit back and show you through demonstrations in this particular video how we actually, how we do that, and sort of, I guess, how many different ways there are of emails of looking like whenever you send them out. Because if you send them out in the CRM system, if you send them out through workflow, if you send them out using bulk contact, if you send them out multiple different ways, the emails can actually show up in the inbox differently. And I don't think a lot of people know that. So right now, let me just take a look here. So got to get my things together here. But awesome. So right now what I want to do is I really want to go over some of the email settings from the very first time that you even set up your agency down to every sub account that you set up. Some things that you may or may not know. I know there's going to be a lot of information. I actually have a cheat sheet guide here just to kind of keep me on track, remind me of some different questions to go over and things to ask. This is going to be really fun here. I'm going to really enjoy this because we're going to go through and do a lot of interactions, a lot of demos. I really hope this thing works because I'm going to really hate to be embarrassed on live here if some of this stuff doesn't work. But anyway, right now what we've got here is let's kind of hop over into the screen here so we can start taking a look at this. Awesome. So right now I've got several different tabs open. And guys, first of all, another couple of disclaimers here. Number one, I'm still kind of recovering from a little bit of a cold. So I've got just some water here in case my voice starts cracking a bit, so forgive me about that. Also, I do want to let you know I am not an expert on everything involved with email systems inside of HighLevel. Okay, I'm not. But what I am going to do here is, whether you're watching this live or you're watching this afterwards and you're previewing this video on my YouTube channel, thank you, by the way, if you're doing that. I always appreciate you subscribers. But if I don't answer a question, you have a question, leave it, because I will go through and answer them. Okay? So that's one of the things that I will do, but I'm hoping to get a few things answered. There's some things in here that a lot of my affiliates, specifically when my affiliates sign up, by the way, I don't know if you're aware, but I am a HighLevel affiliate. So if you are looking to get signed up or upgrade to Agency Pro, use my links below. You'll become an affiliate and get all my free stuff here. So anyway, right now, one of the things I want to sit back and go over are just some of the common mistakes that I see with some of my affiliates when they get their systems set up, of how they set it up, how they should set their email systems up. And a lot of people, specifically with the agency, do this wrong. And they do it wrong, and they really damage their own sort of email domains by doing this. I'm going to show you what I mean by that here when we start getting, just in a minute, to getting the agency set up here. But I'm going to go over some of the common settings, some of the things you may or may not know are here. We're going to do some testing so I can kind of show you how things work. And anyway, let's hop into it here. Let's get into the meat and potatoes, so to speak. So right now we're going to be dealing with email services all the way here. So we're going to launch email services, and notice the very first thing that I've got is I do not have a dedicated domain. So Here's one of the first things that people have from an agency perspective here. And I'm just checking to make sure we still have some people on here, but that's from a agency domain here. What we've got is if you configure. Well, first of all, let me just start from the very beginning here before we get started. I'm going to close this out. If you set up your agency, but you do not set up a dedicated email domain at the agency level, you will always use HighLevel's lead connector system right here. So let me just start with some of the basics. So if you set up your account, you have two options when you set up your agency account. Use the LC email system or use Mailgun directly. Those are two options that you have as your SMTP provider. Now, if you use the LC email, believe me, I've been through HighLevel. I have actually, I don't know if you want to call it an OG or whatever, but I mean, I've been using it for years. And I remember when I had to set up Mailgun, and it was an absolute pain. If you're with me, I mean, you had to set up, it was not as easy as this to set up sub accounts or anything at all. Every sub account, you had to go create a Mailgun account. You had to log in to Mailgun and then to a separate account. Then you had to generate, I think, if I remember, some API keys for each sub account that you needed to manage and then put them in. That's if your client didn't already have a Mailgun account. If they had a Mailgun account, then you had to log into their Mailgun account and then pull that in, and became just an absolute nightmare to sit back and manage this. It really did. So I was just so thankful when HighLevel came out with the lead connector email system to just make this so much easier to do. So anyway, if you do not provide a default dedicated domain, you will use HighLevel's lead connector, sendermessenger.net. They've got several different email domains that you could potentially be using. But bottom line is it will not be using any of your company's domains. Okay, so that was one of the first things, and I'm going to get into. I haven't talked about the problem that I see most people have, first of all, but I want to just kind of explain some of the basics here. So you can use the LC email system. If you do not want to do that, then you can always come over here to add service, and notice that the only option that you get here is Mailgun. So if you wanted to go and move from lead connector to Mailgun, you can absolutely do that. I don't really have a good reason of why you'd want to do that. Unless you just wanted a little bit more control over things, and I don't really have a good reason of why you'd want to do that. But if you did, you can choose Mailgun provider. Then what would happen is right under here in the bottom, like right in this area, you would actually get another Mailgun selection where you could check that as default, and then Mailgun would be your default provider instead of lead connector email. Now, one of the things you got to be careful of is whenever you do the lead connector system, if you're not using that, then a lot of your other workflows and things like that, won't fire inside of HighLevel. So a lot of your email open, things like that, those things may very well not even open. So just be careful about that. I know HighLevel is trying to make it easy by creating this lead connector email system, but either you use it or you don't. Me personally, I use it because it's just so much easier. So right now, let me talk about the problem that I see people having. Is whenever they set up their agency, they want to set up at the agency level. Again, we haven't gotten to the sub-account level. We're still at the agency. Hey guys, James, I appreciate that. Just looking at people that are logged in here. Hey, appreciate you guys hanging in there with me. But I'll look at getting some questions answered here in just a little bit, guys. But I'm just trying to get through a little bit here. And I'll backtrack if I need to once we're done with agency, because once we're done with the agency level, then we're going to move to the sub-account level, because there's only a few things at the agency that we want to talk about here. But if you do have your agency domain set up here, and let's just say it's abcmarketing.com, let's just say that is your primary business domain. Okay, I see a lot of people configuring that domain here, or even a subdomain of that included at the agency level. Now, one of the problems with this is that if for whatever reason you create sub-accounts and those sub-accounts do not get a specific dedicated domain set up, like that skipped in the onboarding process, or somebody forgets to do that, or for whatever reason, then that sub-account will be sending out all their emails under your agency domain. So if they start spamming people, if they start sending out a bunch of crap, all that stuff, as far as the world SMTP servers are going to know, it's coming from your agency domain, not your client sub-account. That's one of the benefits of having LC email, and I'll show you what this looks like when we get to the sub account level. But if you configure your business domain here, and this is your call, you can either, me personally, I would just much rather leave it to the lead connector system. So let lead connector deal with it and not even configure any kind of agency level domain here at this particular part. But you could have something different here. I'm just giving you my opinion about this. But right now, just configure the lead connector system here. Do not put a default, definitely don't put your primary business domain here as the agency, because it just gives you too much risk involved with if you don't get a dedicated domain set up at the sub account level. They could be blasting out emails, and those emails will go out under the agency level configured dedicated dedicated domain. Now, if you don't have one, the dedicated domain will default to, like we're saying here, LC email. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay. Now, before we leave the sort of agency area, that was just the biggest thing I wanted to talk about here is this. Now, if we come in here, could we come in here to like a dedicated domain? Yes, we could. We can come in here and add a domain. Also, I just might as well cover this now. If you're sending out a lot of emails, and by a lot of emails, I want to just show you what this means. So we recommend one dedicated IP address for every 100,000 emails per month. So just keep that in mind. If you're sending out 50 or 100 emails a week, or 50 or 100 emails a day, you're not even going to be anywhere close to needing your own dedicated IP address. Now, real quick, why would you want a dedicated IP address? Ultimately, it's a little bit more stable and helps you get into the inbox faster if all the world's SMTP server sees all of the emails coming out of HighLevel from the same email address. Same IP address. So that's just a way to help your domain become a little bit more secure. And again, it's not really a lot of money. It's only like $60 for an IP address to have it here. If you really send out a lot of email, if you want to, sure, you can buy it. But even HighLevel says, unless you're sending out 100,000 emails a month, then let's not even bother with doing that. Especially if you're sending out only a few thousand, you're not even going to be anywhere near that ballpark of needing something like this. But just want to let you know, you can configure IP addresses. Again, you'll have to contact HighLevel Support, buy it from them, and then once they buy it, they can associate it with your either agency or even a sub-account. So anyway, I hope that helps. And then you can set up here another notification domain. Guys, I'd really love to be able to explain this to you. I wish it was something, it just says right here, all the notification emails sent through the shared domain. I tried to call HighLevel Support. I've been working on this for a little while. I've literally had probably no less than 6 support calls. And unfortunately, like every support call I got, I almost got a different answer. So it got a little bit frustrating here. I tried to go through documentation, but I couldn't really find anything about this. So I really can't add any value as far as the notification section, other than, if you're getting notifications, maybe you have a different domain to send that out. So I really wish I could help you out with that, but I can't. Now, moving back here, there are a few things I want to sit back and show you. For this, the location settings. For this is where you can sit back and turn on email verification for all sub-accounts. Now, some of these sub-accounts, the ones with the asterisk right here, I use these as my snapshot accounts. So I have a lot of different snapshots that I create and I give away for free. By the way, here, I know this is just another plug, but I will have to update this this particular live here. I don't think I got the description updated here, but I'll make sure that we have at least a description of my SaaS Jumpstart course. It's just a free course that I offer, and I bundled just my free course offerings and my snapshots all into that community. You can also go to GoCollab and just type in SaaS Jumpstart, SaaS Jumpstart, and you can find my group there. But if you join the group, it's on the Learning tab. That's it. And so all of these, I don't have email verification turned on purpose. Now, the reason I say this is because ultimately, if you have sub-accounts that are active in your business, I would definitely always have to enable email verification. Now, there is an extra charge for this, and this isn't sort of a gotcha. It's like you have to do like hundreds or something like that to even equal a penny. It's like a fraction of a penny every time you do an email verification, because it's just that cheap. But what it does is that it verifies the emails before you send it. And that right there, I'm going to get into a little bit later when it comes to email deliverability and stuff like that. That's really going to help you out as far as not sending people an email or trying to send it, which could potentially lead to some form of a bounce. And we'll talk about that a little bit later on. So definitely turn this on for all of your sub accounts. I have not, but just don't take don't follow my advice, because I've got a lot of other accounts in here that I don't want them turned on. One of the other things you can do here is under advanced settings. Is just simply automatically enable email verification for new accounts. You can come here and check this. I've got it checked. I'm actually just going to uncheck it. That's the way it was beforehand, but I just checked it for the purposes of this live and demonstration. So this right here is really all I wanted to kind of go over at the agency level, just how you can go into email services. As long as you set up LC email when you very first get signed up, there's really nothing else you need to do to get emails flowing, even from a sub account level, because worst case scenario is that all the emails that'll be sent out either from the agency level or from a sub account level, even if there's no dedicated domains at the sub account level, will all be using HighLevel's email system. So that's one of the nice things about this whole thing is when you choose LC email, it makes it so easy that emails just work. Anything that you do, they may not be your own custom domain, but they still would work. So let me just take a quick look here at some of my questions and comments. What are your views on using different email addresses under one domain for different purposes, for instance, support, info, webinars, and can those all come into one list and then be segmented with tags? Well, unfortunately, no. Right now, I'm going to say no, because even though you can send outbound emails inside of HighLevel, the emails that really go out and come back in under your default domain. There's no inbox per se that you have inside of your sub account level. And I'm going to talk about a lot more about that when we get to the sub account level here in a little bit, because I'm going to go through some demonstrations. But I do have that, and I will be covering that. James, thanks for that. Let's just see, love your stuff. Oh, thanks so much, Tool. I appreciate it, whoever, Tool Wrangler. Awesome. So I was just making sure we didn't have any questions over the agency before I proceeded here. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hop in here to one of my, this is a demo company, and this is one of the ones when I say demo company, excuse me, this is a company, it's called Fresh Flow HVAC. Now, this there is a website. If you go to freshflowhvac.com, this is, and I guess I could do that here. If I could type Fresh Flow HVAC. So this is one of these type of things where I recommend in a lot of my videos, where if you are targeting HVAC companies, build a demo site, build it out, let people know what kind of template they could use. Notice I actually had to put here, this website does not represent a real company. It's for demonstration purposes only, but I'll be daggone it if people still don't call, if I still don't get lead calls and everything else from all these lead generation services from this particular site. But anyway, this is just a demo site that I use for testing purposes to show off AI and things like that. So anyway, that's what it's pretty much for. So I also use it again for being able to just demonstrate and get everything configured. But right now, this is the account that I'm going to be using and doing some of the testing in. So right now, again, go right over to your sub account settings, and we're going to go to email services. And again, pop up no dedicated domain set up. Now I'm going to go through the dedicated domains here already and just let you know how this works, because this is where we're going to be spending the bulk of the rest of the time here on the live. It's just showing how emails are going to be sent out differently, because how you really want that email to go out, you may not even know that the emails that you're sending out are really not being represented the way you really want to. And I'll explain that to you when I start going out and sending out some test emails and showing you what they look like when they're delivered. So one of the things I want to show you here is I haven't configured a dedicated domain here. So notice, blow this back up. Notice that my now default provider is being pulled from the agency level, and it's the Lead Connector email system. Now, this is one of Lead Connector's many sending domains. So there's several of them that they have. I don't know which one you're going to get, but it'll assign one of the domains to you. But any emails that get sent out right now would be sent out using this particular domain. So this is what we're going to be dealing with here. And I'm going to show you how we can create and add a dedicated domain and what that looks like, and just kind of walk through that particular process. But But before I get into there, I do want to cover at least one of the cool things that are here is this reply and forward settings here. Not a lot of people know that this even exists, but when emails, James, I need to look at your note. This kind of goes back to what you were saying earlier about whenever you send out emails outbound, can you track those emails when they come back in? Well, again, to my knowledge, there is no inbox. There's no user mailbox inside of HighLevel. Everything with HighLevel, when it gets sent out, comes back into the same contact that the email was originated from. So that way, in the conversations view, all the emails that you see, even the replies, come back in. Now, there are a couple of different ways that you can do this being one of them, but if you ever wanted to get that reply in your inbox, okay, then this is, James, this might apply to you. I'm not sure. But if you're coming here, notice that inside of your CRM system, you can assign a potential salesperson or person to a particular contact. Now, this really goes back into the CRM. I'm not going to hop in and kind of go over all that stuff. That's really something for the CRM system. But just know that inside of your CRM system, every contact that you have can be assigned to a staff member. So let's just say you have a Salesforce. This Salesforce comes in, and the lead that comes in gets assigned to one of your staff members. Now that staff member is now assigned to that contact. What you can do here is this is two things. Number one, you can put a forwarding address here. Now what this is any communication coming back in to the email system. So you send emails out, anything, meaning anything and everything that comes back in, you can put in a forwarding address here, and then a copy of that message will be sent over to whatever email address you have here. And again, I think you can have up to 5 email addresses here separated by a comma or something like that. But this right here is where you can actually, it's pretty cool, you can actually have those emails forwarded to another, it could be an outside service, it could be somebody else. I don't know what you want to do that for, but you can. You can also do a BCC email if you just want to do a blind carbon copy. But here's one of the things I thought was pretty cool. Here, if you want to select this feature on, forward to assign user. Now, if you have a contact, and if you don't want one person to get every communication, you only wanted people to get the communication regarding the contacts that they're assigned to, this is a great option for you. So again, if you don't want to put a forwarding address, you can simply turn this feature on and then come over here and click save. I'm not going to do that for the purposes of this, but forward to assign user, then whoever is assigned to that contact will now get a copy of that email in their personal inbox. And when it says forward to assign user, the assigned user, follow me on this, the email comes back into an assigned contact. The contact, HighLevel then says, okay, this assigned contact is assigned to Joe Smith. Okay, Joe Smith in the staff configurations email address is this. Boom. Now I'm going to forward a copy of that to Joe's email address, whatever's configured in his staff settings for that, and now he gets a copy of it. So he does get a duplicate inside of his email, but it also just means that he doesn't have to look in the conversations area and go into HighLevel and so forth and look at that to see the responses. He can actually get the reply back directly into his inbox, which is pretty cool. So that's something I didn't know if you guys were aware that you could do. Also, this is something, I don't know why you would do it. I was trying to think of a good reason, but this address right here at the bottom, reply address, if for whatever reason you did not want any email responses to come back into HighLevel, and I didn't test this is just something from support and documentation, put your email address here, and then all inbound communication will not go to conversations view. It'll go to this email address here, the reply address. That's what I was told. So again, why would you want to do that? I don't know. I don't have a good business case for why you'd want to do that, but that's just where it is. So that's the only thing I'm really going to cover here. I'm not really going to cover the email analytics. You can look at all that kind of stuff and risk assessment, bounce classifications for that. You can look at all that stuff later because I'm not just going to go over here on the live. But as far as the SMTP service, here we go. And now what we need to do is configure. I'm going to walk through and just kind of configure a separate domain. But before I do that, let me start by doing some testing here. So let me come over here, and so I'm going to come here and let me delete these and kind of start over again. So right now I'm just going to create, and we're going to just call this one, this is my great test subject, John Smith, that we're going to start with. And I've got him set up. Give me a second here. So this is what we're going to be using to just kind of test and just see what things look like here. So now that we got this, let's see if we can hit the refresh button. And guys, this is live. We're going to have some problems here, I'm sure. But okay, so right now, let's go ahead and just start out with some of the basic email functions and just see what things look like. So I'm going to click here, and I'm just going to go up here to the top and click on here. Now, this is going to pull up if you've ever done email, you can email somebody directly. You can highlight multiple people and send this out in bulk if you wanted to. But right now, I am not going to put anything from the from name or from email. You don't need to do that. Typically, you need a subject. And I'm just going to do, test 1 from Ray. I know I typed bad, so just forgive me. And I'm just going to do testing. You do have to put in an action here, just test. And then I'm going to click send email. So that's going to go out. And of course, there could be some delays and things like that regarding this, but let me take a look. Don't really know. This is a separate window. Let me just make sure I'm still logged in here. Good. So here we go. This is the test email that came from the system. What I wanted to show you is this right here. This is what the email address looks like. So if you're doing this and you're trying to send out a lot of emails, this right here, I wouldn't say get flagged for spam, but somebody may not open it because if you take a look at this message here, look how it looks for in Gmail. It just says reply. That it doesn't have a name, it doesn't have a person's name, it doesn't have their email address on it. It doesn't have anything like that on it. So just be careful when you're doing this. Now I'm gonna do this again, and we're gonna just show you how this works and what these things look like. But when you send out an email, if you got an email like this, would you open it? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. So right now you would just definitely need to look at this. But I just want to show you that this is what you end up getting. Reply, and of course, if you were to simply reply back to this, which I'm not going to do, and go back in here. If you come back under this particular person, you notice underneath the conversations view that we've got this email sent out. If I replied back, then I would just simply get the reply here inside of the conversations view, just like you would expect. So now let's come back here and do a test 2 again. So here, back here again. So I'm just going to go ahead and put in my name here. And one of my email addresses, and I'm just going to call it test 1 again, and just testing. So send it out again, and this right here is one way that you can send out emails for this, and we're going to see whenever you do this, you can send these out under different domains. And I know I'm saying that, just hang in there with me. There are ways that when we start looking at getting dedicated domains set up, you can't have multiple domains configured to do different things. And I'll have to explain it just in a minute. But let's take a look here at the, goodness, come on. So here, notice that if we did this, at least here we get the name. Of course, I mistyped it right there. We get the email address. And then you see it says via send whatever this domain. Again, it's better if you looked at this, because now if you looked at this in an email, oh, Ray O'Daniel, or you can put in kind of whatever from name you want. Just be careful when you put in a from name for this, because if it looks spammy, then it could go into spam. If you try to put in like special characters or things like that, it could again go into spam. But that's at least the basic testing using the default domain inside of HighLevel. So your emails go out, no problem at all. They got delivered to the inbox here, because ultimately, HighLevel does try to make sure that people don't abuse their system, don't abuse the domains that they have, because if they do, then HighLevel's default LC email domains will get blacklisted, and then everybody that uses them will have a problem sending out, because everybody will go to spam. But at least that is one way, if you take a look at this, of how you can improve the way your email looks whenever it goes out. So just please make sure you put in your from name and so forth whenever you do that. So that right there is at least one way I wanted to show you what that email looks like. Now we're going to bounce back over here and do some more testing. So right now, yes, now we're actually going to create a dedicated domain. Now you can call this anything you want. And a lot of questions I get from people are, should I use a subdomain? Can I use a root domain? What type of domain should I put in here? Should I use my actual business domain? Now, I'm going to have to say it depends. That's I was in real estate, and that's always the favorite answer in real estate. Whenever you have a question, it depends. Now, if you're doing this inside of HighLevel, again, it depends. So if you're sending out emails and you're just doing basic communications, then sure. I would say if you've already got your root domain going someplace, like right now, if you have, again, abcmarketing.com, if that is your root domain, okay, then all of your MX records and everything else may be sent to Google Workspace or to Office 365, because that's where your basic core MX records are pointing, so that's where you get email to do business, and that's where you pull it up in your email clients, whether it be Outlook or Mail or whatever you use to retrieve your email. So if you are using your primary domain for your email in Google or inside of Office 365 or something like that, then you will need to use a subdomain of that for your email. Now, what should you do? Notice here, if you take a look, they just put here LC, that's like leadconnector.mydomain.com. You can literally put in whatever you want. Now, for me, I'm just going to put in email. This domain here is called FreshFlow HVAC. So that's what we're dealing with here. So this is what I'm going to put in here. And this right here is actually this FreshFlow HVAC is actually configured in Cloudflare. Now that brings up a good point here that I want to stop and bring up is, if you're dealing with HighLevel, every time I get an affiliate and they schedule a call with me, just to kind of help get stuff set up or answer questions, I always have to recommend up front, just take a little bit of time. If you're not using one of these four providers, to switch all of your domains to them. This is my suggestion to you, just for the ease of using these domains and configuring them inside of HighLevel. That is Google, GoDaddy, Cloudflare, or inside of HighLevel itself. Since HighLevel now, you can buy your own domains and stuff like that. That stuff can be done inside of all of that. But one of those providers, because any one of those, then HighLevel already has an integration built in that can auto-configure a lot of these records that I'm going to show you that this thing creates. It just saves you so much headache. I can't tell you enough of how long some of these other, I'm not using the word cheap to describe their service. I'm using cheap to describe the cost of their service. So just some of these really inexpensive, I guess would be a better word, places would be great. I have to manually configure all these records. Sometimes it takes hours, if not a day, for it to synchronize, versus the four that I told you about, pretty much synchronized literally in seconds to minutes, and can be much, much faster. So anyway, I've got mine through Cloudflare. Just as a reminder, if you're getting your agency account set up, just please start with one of these four right off the bat. Pay whatever you need to, $50 or something, to have all your domains transferred over to one of these, but it will make your life so much easier just moving forward. Now, that was my little soapbox or whatever for that, but it is very helpful if you do that from the very beginning, because you're going to see here, this could be a pain to get done here. So I'm going to click on Add and Verify. Now, I've already logged in and authenticated myself to Cloudflare. So right now, this should go pretty smoothly here, but keep your fingers crossed with a live demo here. So I'm going to click Connect. This is the benefit of having Cloudflare, Google, GoDaddy, or whatever. It sets up your domain. It's doing all of this, and now it's just saying, hey, authorize me to do this on this domain. So now it opens up and says, great. Before I do this, I just want to make sure here are the DNS records that you're authorizing Lead Connector to connect up and post in your Cloudflare account for you. Now, are these hard to do? No. It would just be copy, paste, but you have to create the right record type. You have to put in the right name and the right content. And if it's even one character off or something that you missed, then it's messed up. And it could take you hours to figure that out. So this is why I just say it's better just to specify one of those four. So anyway, these are all the records that need to be created here. And we're going to click Authorize. And this is going to go through, and this process could take, literally just, I think last time I did this on some of the testing, took about, 1 to 2 minutes or something like that. So while we're doing that here, I'm going to show you some other things. So right now, if we kind of go back to dedicated domains, we'll see that this thing is, you'll start getting this kind of stuff here: unknown domain, can't be done, SSL unknown. Why is SSL important? Because right now, if your domain is set up correctly, then your SSL certificate, just for security, will be generated automatically for you, things like that. So right now, here's what you're going to end up getting. You're going to get this domain right here, but I'm not going to stop here. I'm going to sit back and actually do another one here, and I'll kind of show you why in a minute. So right now I'm going to create another dedicated domain, and again I'll show you why. I'm just going to do same thing. We'll just call it mg.freshflowhvac.com. So this right here, go through the same process here. So it's, again, good to duplicate it here. So here we go. Setting up your domain, kind of creating your records. Hopefully by the time we go through this one here, the first one is going to be set up. So again, it's just good practice to go through this. Very nice and easy if you have Cloudflare or one of the providers. So now you've got these records. Once you do all this, you can come back and just say if you want verified domain. Again, a lot of this is going to be verified. Notice that if we take a look here, I'm going to move myself over real quick. Notice that one of these here at the bottom has already been verified in greens. That's what you're looking for. Some of these other ones have not. But I'm going to just pop back up, come back over here to this screen here. So now we see both of our email domains. Notice that neither one of them are checked yet. Whenever it's checked, that is our default dedicated domain. That's the one that's going to be used to send out emails moving forward. So right now, let's go ahead and just click on verify now for here. Hopefully by now, we've got everything being green. So here we go, green, 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 all the way down, verify domain. And right now, just SSL is pending. Again, this just take a couple of minutes, but notice now everything's green. We get this little check mark automatically because that's the first one in the list. And now email.freshflowhvac.com is the domain. That's the default dedicated domain. Now, because this is live, this is all about wanting to show you how your emails are going out and how they're received whenever you send them out. So let's go back and do some testing. And again, this is one of those things where if you're doing this for yourself, you might want to just test this and just see how things work out yourself. So I'm going to click here, send myself another email. And I'm going to send myself 2 emails. The first one, this is going to be test 2 with Ray. I'm not putting in a from name or from email, and I'm doing that on purpose. So send this out, call it test, and bam, it's gone. So awesome. Hey, Pretty Black Money. Hey, I use for my domain and it automatically connects. Hey, awesome. So maybe they included some other domains here. So we got somebody who says IONOS. I've never dealt with them myself, but IONOS maybe. But HighLevel connects to them as well. So maybe they've updated that, which is awesome. That's great. But my whole point is just go to one of those domains where HighLevel automatically connects to it. It just makes your life so much easier to not have to manually create all these different kinds of records for those people that specifically are not super techy. So here I'm going to go back and now take a look. Here's our test 2 popped in. And notice if we do this, now because we didn't use a name and we didn't use an email address, so now it just comes through as reply at email.freshflowhvac.com. Perfect. So now we're making progress. So now if the person received this, it's at least coming from the branded domain of whatever your business or sub account is, which is great. But it's still not coming across very well because now you've got, it just says reply. And if somebody really saw that, if a business owner, if you're doing cold email, they saw just the term reply, they may just think it's spam and just delete it right off the bat. So let's go ahead and scale back out. Let's go back into our option again here. And again, if we do this, we're just going to do, let's just change it up here and say this is John Smith. No, I'm not going to send it to myself. Never mind, that's kind of silly. Sorry about that. So I'm just going to use, just trying to be silly. Didn't even spell that right. Look at that. Trying to be silly and just didn't even execute right. So wonk wonk, just bad joke. So here, specify this, and we're just going to do test 2 – Ray again, just to make it different. and test. So at least we can kind of see how this email looks. And this is what it looks like to the client. You know, whenever you're sending stuff out or whenever you're communicating with anybody, even through the CRM system, what it actually looks like. So from here, let's see if it comes back. Wow, that was quick. So again, if we look here, Ray Santa Claus, ho, ho, ho. Test 2 again, and if we take a look and blow this up, Ray Santa Claus, we've got the email address here via this right here. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to click here and reply. Now, I'm doing this because I want to show you something. Now, when this works, even though I've got my email address here specified, it does not go to that email address. So that's one of those things where you have to look at, even though your email address is there, when it comes back in, it's coming back into HighLevel. Please keep in mind and understand, anything that goes out from HighLevel on an email, unless you configure that setting that I showed you, that reply email address where everything inbound goes to that, then everything's going to come inside of HighLevel. Okay. Now you can also do that reply, and I guess I'll go back over that for people that might have hopped back on. But I'm going to come here to John, just take a look, and notice that inside here we've got the message and just simply the reply back. But I did not get an email. I did not get that in my email inside of my personal inbox. So even though it had my name and my email address, that's really almost just to make sure that people feel safe, that it's not coming from something spammy, and they might even recognize your email address if you're sending it to business partners and things like that. So anyway, that's at least the beginning of how you start configuring the agency level. If you don't configure the dedicated domain at the sub-account level, we took a look at that and shown what that looks like. So we're going to come back down here to email services. So now we've got, this is our default domain, email.freshflowhvac.com. Now, we have more than one dedicated domain, okay? So again, I'm sorry, let me do the reply settings. Here's where if you wanted to get a copy of that when that email came back in, I could specify that here. I'm not going to do it for the purposes of this live, but you can put in a forwarding address, and then that forwarding address, I think you can have up to 5 separated by comma. Those people will get a copy of every communication from every contact, or specify this forward to the assigned user, and then only that person assigned to that contact or the people assigned to that contact will actually get it. Now here's, if you want to put this email address in here, then apparently I haven't tested it, but nothing will come back into HighLevel if you have this set. All the email communications will go to this email address, but again, I couldn't think of a good use case for that. So now, having said that, let me go back into the dedicated domains and start diving a little bit deeper into this. So, see if I have any questions. Okay, so awesome. Thanks. Got a few more people. We got how necessary is single or double opt-in? That's a great question here. And right now, my opinion, again, everything is just, it's just my opinion here. If you're dealing with B2C, like business to consumers, and B2B, business to business, to me, that's a little bit different. So number one, let's just kind of start with the easy one, business to business. If you're doing business to business, then if you put your email address and your phone number out on Google and things like that, then be prepared to have other businesses contact you directly. I don't think there really needs to be an opt-in or anything like that. If you're putting your business out there and you're looking to do business with a particular business, then you should be able to contact that business to see if it's something that you should be able to deal with. Now, should you spam people, 50 or 100 emails, just bombarding them? No. Should you give them an option to opt out and unsubscribe from your list? Absolutely. And I'll go over those settings here in just a little bit because they're on my list to get looked at as well. But those things for business to business, I think, are open. If you put your name and email address out there, you never know. You could have a really good business opportunity that somebody reaches out to you and says, wow, like for instance, what if you're a HighLevel user and you're doing, let's just say, reputation management, and this company really has poor and sucky reviews, and you are just offering to help them out? Then that's a service that you can communicate with them. These people will probably be happy to sit back and say, well, sure, let me take a look at it and see if it's something that I can do, because I know our reviews suck and I need a system put in place, so sure. So when you come across single or double opt-in on that one here, I think for business to business, you don't need any of those. To be honest, if you want to market to people, just don't spam people. Send them a couple emails. If they didn't respond back, then let's not even deal with it. Now, I'm going to go over a little bit later on here on checking your emails for spam possibility, and I'm going to show you that I've got a tool that HighLevel recommends that's available to everybody that you can use to check that, by the way. Now, business to consumer. Whenever you're doing business to consumer, right now, I just think a single opt-in is fine. Now, what does that mean? In HighLevel, when you have a form or you go to the website chat widget or anything like that, that's consent that's automatically given. That little checkbox, even on the calendars now. Even on the calendars when you fill stuff out and you go book an appointment, there's a checkbox that says, I consent to being notified via text and emails regarding this particular appointment. So as soon as somebody gives you that, then you have permission to contact them via both text and email communications, as long, and again, I'm stringent about this, as long as you provide them a way of opting out. Because this is where the A2P registration really comes in, specifically with regards to text messages, but also with email, deliverability, having an unsubscribe link really helps out with that. Those companies, I can't tell you how many emails I get where people don't have an unsubscribe and I have to just reply back with just stop, trying to be polite. But I mean, come on. If you're going to send out an email for something, just have an unsubscribe link where somebody could just say, no, thank you, and unsubscribe, but now I have to wait for you to remove me from your list, and I don't like that. But I'm going to show you where those settings are inside of HighLevel for you to do that. But A2P registration, that was one of the main reasons why that was implemented, because people kept abusing text messages and over communicating with people, but at least giving people a way to opt out. So built into HighLevel, there's an automatic stop function, and let's take a look at where those are. Excuse me, real quick. Those are going to be here in your business profile. If you click on this, scroll down. So here's where these are right here. And again, this is my test account. I'm going to try to blow this up a little bit, scoot it over. So right now, these are automatically checked by default. Make SMS compliant by adding the opt-out message. Perfect. Those should be checked. You don't ever want to uncheck those because, I mean, those are just mandatory. I'm surprised that they're allowing you to uncheck them here, actually. That should almost be like a required thing. But here, make SMS compliant by adding sender information, and then make it compliant by adding unsubscribe link. So all that stuff that you naturally get by default, I think is very good. Now, here's some other things that I want to sit back and show you as well that I think should be done here. And thanks, Pretty Black Money, for bringing it up here. It's a good segue into doing this, and we'll hop back and deal with the dedicated domains here just in a little bit. I haven't forgotten about that. But here, verify email address when first email is sent to new contact. This is email verification. So if you ever buy a list, one of the things, if you're ever doing business to business and you go do something like Google Maps and you're using a scraper to pull business information off, fine. If that's what you can afford to do. If you're going to be doing something else with like a list provider where you can search for different companies that match certain categories in certain cities and states, perfect. Pull that list down, and but the problem is some of that data in there is going to be bad. It just inherently will. Bad email addresses, invalid email addresses. One of the things you want to make sure you don't do is that you don't put bad data and then keep bad data in your CRM. So I kind of had another YouTube video where I talked about how to go over and to sort of scrape out and clean out the sort of people that where you get bounces or invalid emails and things like that. Me personally, I'm just saying if I pull a list like that and I get an email address that's invalid, part of my workflows is, if it comes back with that kind of a bounce or invalid, then I just sit back and just simply delete the contact. I don't want them in my database. Bad data, bad. I don't sit back and try to go back and find a new email address for them, because you're dealing with potentially tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of leads in your CRM system. So rather than dealing with that, I don't ever want them to be included on the list again. I just delete them. And there's a nice little delete contact action inside of a workflow that allows you to do that, by the way. And the other one I want you to sit back is mark emails as invalid due to hard bounce. Click on that one as well. You want to make sure that anytime, for whatever reason, hopefully, you don't ever get a hard bounce. Now, let's kind of talk about that real quick, because I know some people may have questions like, what is a hard bounce and what is a soft bounce and things like that, or whatever you want to call it. When it comes to email responses, there's like soft and hard. What is the difference? typically a hard bounce or hard response, meaning that email address doesn't exist. So if you're like anybody else, if you've dealt with a person in a business and who knows, maybe that person quit the business, but you didn't know about it. Maybe they're a salesperson and you still have their email address in your contacts, and you're like, well, it's been a year later. You email that person and the person's not there anymore. They quit, and then the company deleted their contact, deleted their email address and things like that. So now their email address doesn't exist, right? So when that happens, you're going to get a hard bounce back from their email system saying user doesn't exist. So when that happens, again, if you had HighLevel and you did email verification, you should be able to verify that email is good. And if it's not good, then it should be invalid right from the beginning, and then HighLevel won't even send them an email to begin with. But sometimes things happen, but mark it as an invalid bounce. Now, if you're dealing with a soft bounce, this is something like a temporary problem, like the email box is full, or the email server is having a problem or something like that. It's a temporary, unable to deliver, something like that, meaning the email address is still good, but for some reason right now I can't deliver it. Now, typically built into the SMTP protocol system is a way of being able to sit back and hold that email and then do a number of retries after so many hours. So that's why when you send an email and you get that sort of undeliverable, it's probably like a day later that you end up getting it, because sometimes the email servers will try, like, okay, they realize that it's like a soft bounce, and then they'll try again. But if the inbox is full, like a storage requirement or something, then it's just not going to be delivered. So those are where those settings are, and that's kind of what I recommend putting in place for anything that you're doing for that. So now let's go back to email services. Let me check real quick here. Sorry, got it. Perfect. Appreciate everybody. I have my domain through Bluehost. Getting the MX records to sync is a nightmare. It works. Yeah. Well, I used to use Bluehost for a lot of my WordPress hosting until I moved them over to HighLevel. I like their service. Forgive me. I do like Bluehost. They're very competitive and stuff like that, but I just wanted everything in one place. But yeah, right now, just some of these email providers can be a nightmare. So getting back and sort of refocusing here to kind of get back on track. Dedicated domains. Here we've got 2 dedicated domains. Why would I want them? Okay, why would I want to have them? So one of the things you can do here, and again, is if you go into domain configuration, this is where you can sort of adjust what dedicated domain is used for any one of these particular purposes. So here, if you say workflow domain, so workflow domain meaning any email action sent in a workflow will use this domain. Now, if there's none here, then of course it'll use the default dedicated domain. So any one-on-one conversation domains, like back in the CRM, what we're doing, any of those, and then any of your campaigns that you're dealing with, or even bulk email domains. So you can actually specify different domains for different uses. So right now, I was just going to kind of show this to you here, and hopefully I don't make an idiot out of myself here, but I've actually got a little workflow set up where the whole purpose of this is to come in and just send an email out. And let me correct this. I hate it when I misspell stuff. But right here, we got test number 3. We don't have a from name. We don't have a from email address. We've just got this. So we're going to save it. And here in settings, just to let you know, we do not have a from name and from email set up as default here either. So whenever we do this, if we wanted to, we can simply come over here and come back into our test. And we're going to put this through a campaign. So we're going to send this out, test email, just say test, execute, bam. Hopefully this shouldn't take that long here. The emails have been going out pretty well today for this one, but we'll just give it a response. But here, now we're sending out an email in a workflow. We're not sending it out directly using the CRM system. So then how does that look whenever you send it out? So notice right here, this is what we end up getting. Reply at email.freshflow.com. Why? Because email.freshflow is our default dedicated domain. So right now, this is the way it is. So let's go back and do another test. And again, I'm trying to go back, and things are working pretty well here. I'm really happy with the way this is working. But let me go back into the email services. And now what we're going to do is come back into dedicated domains. We're going to come back to the domain configuration. And we're going to choose for this, Why is it not letting me? Oh, so sorry. This right here, notice it. I've never done this testing. It kind of blew up in my face here. I only have one domain to choose from, and that's because this right here, I didn't go through and verify it. So notice that this it says SSL is pending, but I have to come in here and verify this. Now that I've gone through, all these are green, 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 all verified domain. So now we'll do this, and everything is good. Let me just come back in here since I'm a little, just want to make sure everything looks good. So we got green, green, green's good. That's what it is. So now our secondary dedicated domain here is now available and been verified. So now if we come into domain configuration, we should have two of them here. So we have email, and then let's just say I want to use this one for the workflow. Now notice what we got here. It doesn't quite look right? It's got this like little orange color. And if we take a look here, what exactly do you think that is? And that's something I had to figure out. But what it's basically saying here is that there's no default, again, it's over here actually, missing default header could lead to DMARC issues. Now, just to kind of let you know, DMARC, I'll just let you know, DMARC is more of like a DNS record that gets created just to help to ensure that the sender of your emails is actually you. So that way nobody can impersonate your domain and things like that. Just a way, it's a way of handling security. And guess what? HighLevel creates those DMARC records for you whenever it sets up the domain. So anyway, if you're ever curious, that's what it is. Now, when it says missing default header, what does that mean? So let's go ahead and I'm just going to remove this for right now and come back to dedicated domain. Now this comes back to another different option that maybe you saw, maybe you didn't see, is these little three dots right here. So right now I'm going to come in here, and now we've got several different options. Verify domain, delete it, assign IP. Again, this goes back to if you're having a dedicated IP address. You can come in to set headers, which I'm going to go into here in just a minute, but I also want to go through these domain settings. Here, if you want to do click tracking, click open, like all those cool things that you can do in the workflows, those events. You can turn those off if you want to. I don't know why you'd want to, but you can do it here. And then lastly, your SMTP settings. This is where you come in here, and I don't really know why you'd want to come in here to do any of this stuff. Again, I couldn't find any documentation on it, so sorry. But these are the options that you get. One of which, though, is set headers. Now, what does set headers mean? This means you actually put in a from name and an email address that's used for all communications. So right now, I'm just going to type in FreshFlow HVAC because that's our company, and I'm just going to type in info@freshflowhvac.com. So that's what I'm looking for, and I'm going to click save. Now that that's on there, the header, notice that this dedicated header right here is now filled out. And I'm just going to try to blow this out just a little bit here, just try to show you what this said. The designated header will apply to all emails sent through this domain. So that right there is what we've got. We're going to come back over here, select this now again for message. Now notice what happened. There's no color. The color's good. You've got everything. It doesn't look like it's there's an error or anything like that. Not that it was an error before. It would have still worked. But here, once you get this configured, it's just better. So let's go back here to our test this again. So now that we've got this done, we're going to go through the campaign. Click on this and do our email test. So these are all just different things that we can do here. Just checking to make sure that that we've got any more messages. Nope. All good, all good. Hey, I appreciate you guys hanging in there with me here. This is just some good stuff. I hope this helps you with at least explaining how emails go out differently and how to fix them and things like that. So now that we've done that, let's just see. It's taking a little bit longer here, of course, in a live demonstration. But these are some of the things that we've got here. Now, one of the things I want to show you is, let's just kind of go over, let me make sure, here we go. So now if we take a look here, that we see we've got FreshFlow HVAC, and it's being sent out here. So this is the way it looks if you're using that default header, okay? So again, because it's being sent out through HighLevel, when it comes back in, it will come back in to the conversations area. Don't fool yourself that it's going to come into your inbox, because if we come here and take a look, again, everything comes into, here's the latest one that we just sent. And again, if we want to come here and just reply. Then the reply will come back in to HighLevel directly into here. It just might take in a minute, but it'll come back here as number 2 for the reply. Sometimes here with HighLevel, especially with the CRM, stuff like that doesn't auto refresh. So sometimes it doesn't, but anyway. Never mind, it looks like it's taking a little bit longer, so we'll just kind of move on, but that reply will come back in here. Oh, there we go. So it actually did automatically update. So here we go. We've got the reply back from John Smith just saying thanks. So this is just how you can have emails being sent out differently. Now, one of the things I want to show you that was rather disappointing, that personally I made this mistake myself and I didn't know it, is inside your automations. And I don't know why. I don't know why this is the case. But sometimes if you're here, and let's just say if you just want to use, you're not using any kind of a crazy header or anything like that in here, but let's just say you want to come in here and use, oftentimes you ever want to come in and use account name, like location.name for this, and then I used to do this a lot and then never knew this myself. So I would come here and just say, oh, let me just send location name, which is Fresh Flow HVAC, or at least it should. And then the from email, which is the email address, location.email, inside of your business settings for your sub account, that's where that email address is. If you do this, it will be blank. The workflow will not use these inside of here, at least with my testing. I could not get this to work. So the only way I can get this to work is if I came in here and just put in user information. So I had to come in here instead of account. I had to come here for like user full name and then user email. And then when I did that, then the user's information showed up. But that was just rather disappointing. How so if you're using location.name or location.email, go and check that. I mean, right now, if we did this, let's just say if let's just test it real quick. And I hope it doesn't make me look like an idiot. But we're going to do this and come in here. And what I want to show you is if we save this, I'm just going to save the action real quick. But if we came here and just do some testing. So let's just say if I want to test this and go to the email we've been using here. And we just want to click on send test email. This is a great way to just see how things look. Does it look right? Are things working correctly? But if we do this, then we'll see how this, we should be able to see how the emails go out. Now look at this. This right here is very disappointing. Because, I mean, right now we've got, this comes back, and what we've got, reply. Remember when we got a reply? The reply just came back as just, not having any of the information that we have in there. Of course, it's still even using the email domain here. So just be careful, that's all. Because I know sometimes when you've got workflows and you want to represent yourself as a business or company, that you want to be professional, you want to have your company name on there. So just be careful. You might need to put something in hard-coded, but it didn't work for me. Like, this doesn't work whenever you do it. So that was one of the other things I wanted to show you about. And let's just see. Oh, I wanted to show you some of these tools. Well, first of all, push user is us. Yes. So the user would be like the user that executed the workflow, or if you wanted to, more importantly, it would be like assigned to. Like if you come here in the assign to user function, which is kind of cool. So I mean, you can have assigned to user here if things are going out, and then you can actually select multiple people here from the list. So if I wanted to have this, I wanted to have 2 people, then basically the workflow would round robin it. First time Jane would be assigned, second time John would be assigned, and things like that if you wanted to do something like that. But I'm not going to. But appreciate it, and yeah. So who is the considered the user in the custom field? It's really, when it comes to the user, it's going to be whoever's executing this particular process, or whoever's assigned to that particular contact. So that's where they pull that from. So okay. So now that we've done that here, some of the other things I want to move forward with here, let me just make sure I don't miss anything with email services, but I just at least want to make sure that you're aware that if you go to dedicated domains, you can sit back and configure this. Now, again, I sat back and kind of racked my brains for probably maybe 15, 20 minutes saying, why would you want to do this? Why would it really matter? And I couldn't come up with a really good business reason of why you want to do it. But my point was I wanted to show you that you could do it and that how it would look. So again, if you wanted to, notice that we've got these two here. I'm just going to go ahead and delete this just to kind of show you what happens when you click this and go to delete, to show you that this is what it looks like. Delete, and then at that point it's gone. Now keep in mind here, this is the problem, and if you're doing some testing, this was MG for like message, mg.freshflowhvac.com. The DNS records are still configured on your system. Okay, it didn't go out and delete the DNS records associated with that email. So if I come back in here and try to add it again, I think let me just do that just to prove a point here. It'll say emails already assigned or something like that. So if I do this, add verify, yeah, domain already pointing to email server. So if you get this message right here, domain is already pointing to email server, and you try to delete it, you'll have to go delete those 5 or 6 DNS records first. Then once you delete the CNAME, the MX records, the text records, and things like that, whatever 5 there are in there, then you can sit back and re-add it again. But it'll give you an error and won't let you re-add it until you do that. But this is how you configure your domain. And once you do this, now you're good to go. Now, this domain here, one of the other questions that I got a lot was, what if I didn't want to, this comes out with cold email a lot, for instance. So one of my recommendations, if you watch my cold email outreach video that I did, was if you're setting up cold email outreach, one of the things you don't want to do is you don't want to blacklist or burn your primary domain. So again, I've been using the example abcmarketing.com. If that is your primary domain, okay, fine. But this is the domain that you actually have configured with Google, that your clients, your business use to respond to. This is how you do business, send, receive emails. If you configure that domain, inside of this, and you do bulk email, like a lot of updates, and you do something wrong, spammy emails and a lot of bounces and stuff like that instead of HighLevel, then that domain, root domain, can be added to the blacklist, which could negatively affect your business. So if you're doing cold email outreach, or you're doing a lot of emailing to clients and prospecting, I always recommend using a different root domain, something that's a little bit different, but close to your original domain. So instead of abcmarketing.com, maybe it's abcmarketing.net, something like that. So again, it's coming from ABC Marketing, but it's .net instead of .com. So if the .net email, that domain just completely gets blacklisted, then all you have to do, it's literally just this easy. Come into this default domain, delete the one you've got right here. Okay, delete it. Come back in and add your new domain, and then all of your workflows, everything else, you can start right back up again. Now, one of the problems that you're going to have on this one, whenever you're starting a new domain, and we're kind of getting down this rabbit hole of cold email outreach, is making sure you warm up new email domains. So this is one of the problems that people have whenever they start. They don't spend time to warm them up. Now, what does warming it up mean? So warming it up means you need to sit back and start sending legitimate messages using that domain to other people and getting responses back, so that the global SMTP servers, that's the mail servers, can see that domain going back and forth and communicating, and then you can start building at least a reputation. It's kind of like, if you think about it like credit, it's like if you have no credit and you want to go out and buy a Mercedes, that's going to be a no-go. You need to start building that credit, and once you show you have a good reputation and things like that, then you could you get a good reputation. You get my point. So with that, you need to start enabling your system to get warmed up. Now, HighLevel does not do that. I'll just let you know that right now. So right now, I was wanting to help you out and just show you that I actually use a software company called Instantly. Okay, Instantly, this is my account, and I was just trying to, I don't know, can I get back to the dashboard or? Anyway, Instantly, it's instantly.ai. So this is a tool that I've used whenever I'm warming up my emails. Now, this right here is a domain that I'm going to be using myself for, as an affiliate. I'm going to be doing some affiliate cold email outreach to other businesses, letting them know about HighLevel and so forth. And I'm going to be using rayodaniel.me. This is the domain, again, something very similar. I'm not using rayodaniel.com, which is my primary domain or one of my other business domains. I'm using something close, but not quite, my domain. So right now I will be using, in this case, rayodaniel.me. Excuse me. Give me a second. to send that out. Now, my default dedicated domain will just be rayodaniel.me. It will not be a subdomain. So I don't need to use a subdomain because I have a full root domain whose sole purpose is for doing the cold email outreach. So again, this is going to be completely up to you whether you do that or not. But notice here that this right here, it's already sent out some warm-up emails. It's got a health score on it. This right here, I think it's like $35 a month or something like that to warm it up. Now, this has been warming up for probably about a month now. So I'm getting pretty close to stopping this and getting this implemented. I was going to try to do that when I'm actually down in Cancun next week, by the way. Woo, woo. So next Friday, I'll be flying down to Cancun, where I'll be staying down there for a couple of months. And then you'll start seeing some cool videos from Cancun. But anyway, I'm hoping to get this implemented here and get this domain transferred from here over to HighLevel. And then once I get it transferred over to HighLevel, then make it a dedicated domain and start using it now that it's been warmed up. So it's been sending out a lot of warm emails and things like that. If I come in here and take a look, it gives you some nice, like, these are some of the ones. I think it sent out 8 emails, just very, very slight over the last month. And then this one was like 10 emails, 9. So, and the cool thing about Instantly is that you don't need to determine who Instantly sends to. Like, it'll send to some other fake email address that it has, and then send the fake email back in reply to show, and it'll change the subject, the body of the text, make it look like just different kind of communications that you're communicating with different things. So that's pretty cool. And once you get this thing configured, it's pretty straightforward and easy to do that. As a matter of fact, if you check the video description here, I think I'm an affiliate for Instantly. So, use my affiliate link. That's always helps me out for this one. But I use it as well. So this right here is one of the domains that I will be using, but I'm warming it up so that, again, the SMTP servers know that I'm sending. They've seen this email. So then when I start sending out emails in HighLevel, it will just like, okay, here's some more emails from rayodaniel.me. So anyway, I just wanted to show you that service. Also, a couple of other things I want to show you are inside of your marketing and templates here. Some other tools that are available here. So this right here is, I think, I was doing a test with this Google review email template. So this right here is just one of the templates I use sometimes. It's actually, this is one of the templates that's in my reputation management snapshot, which, by the way, is free. Free plug there. So again, I just redid that about a week ago to include a lot of cool other stuff for people that want to sell reputation management. That's a free snapshot that you can get. But this right here is just a template that I want to show you how you can test this. Now, there is a tool called I can't blow this up, mail-tester.com. So when you do this, I'm going to just refresh this real quick. And when you do that, what you get is this screen right here. So it's saying, first, copy this email, like the email randomly generates. So I'm going to copy this, come into HighLevel, and then I'm going to click on these little 3 dots up in here. Okay, this is where you click on this and say test email. So I'm going to test it. So the from email address, I'm just going to, I can just put in mine or anybody else's with this. It doesn't really matter. The sender name, it says optional. Send test to. This right here, the email address you're sending to, you want to paste that big mail tester in here, and I'm just going to say testing. Now, what is this going to do? When you do this, what happens? So this right here, this test for spamminess, if you're doing a nurture campaign, or if you're trying to, you've got some kind of campaign that you're doing, and you've got a series of emails that you've got created, one of the things is that your account can be flagged for spam is what you actually have in the subject line. What do you have, what kind of links and what kind of stuff do you have in the body to make it look spammy, like to SMTP servers. So this service just kind of gives you a rating of how good your emails are. So when you do that, you want to give it just a little bit of time and then say, then check your score. Click on the button. And then what it does is, of course, it's going to come over here and now start charging me for it. Great. Well, that didn't work out too well. So something eventually had to bomb out. But anyway, if you do this, it'll give you a score, and the score is just going to be just some kind of it's a rating of 10, like 5 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, something like that. Well, since I can't use this, I've already used it a couple times doing some testing. but I've also created like some other spam emails and try to sit back and make it as spammy as I could. But this is just a great tester if you wanted to test some emails to see how well other SMTP servers thinks of it as spam to make sure it doesn't go into the spam folder. So another thing I want to sit back and at least tell you here is that there's this another one. This is inside of the HighLevel documentation as well, some of their email ones, but it's called MX, like mail exchange, mxtoolbox.com/email health. And what this is, you come in here and you just put in a domain, and I'm just going to put in freshflowhvac.com. This is just a test. I don't expect this to come back perfect, but it'll check it, come back and say, oh, here's all these problems that I see. With this record, no, this record found, none of this record. So again, if you're really looking to have a good solid email system, you might want to take a look at this and use this as a guide to help you fix some of the problems that you may have. So anyway, that's another tool that I want to make sure that was available to you. Just some of the things I've got. This is sort of my cheat sheet. I haven't had to look at it yet here, but real quick, just some of the things I made notes. Email deliverability. A lot of people are just like, well, how can I get it to the inbox? Number one, follow the best practices. There is a best practice set up inside of HighLevel where, again, if you set up a new domain, warm the domain up first, at least 4 weeks, longer if you can. But make sure that domain kind of gets warmed up so people know it exists. Because what happens if you just buy a domain and start sending out 1,000 emails a day? That's a spammer. As soon as that happens, you're going to get flagged as a spammer. That domain's going to get blacklisted and you're done. So email deliverability, again, it's just super complex. It has a lot of different things. But the biggest one is just the sender's reputation. And that goes back to that credit score I told you about. Whenever you're sending, it's like, hey, this person's doing some good business. You start getting a rating with the SMTP servers, and that's why you warm your domain up. Now, ultimately, one of the things you want to do as well is just stay within the guidelines that HighLevel recommended. And really, it's really high. So, I mean, if you're sending out more than, say, 1,000 emails a day, don't send out 1,000 emails at one time. Whenever you do this, this is where, if you've never seen this function before, this is where you might have missed it. But if we click here and go to the send email, this is where you can highlight if you wanted to, then come down here and actually use this send and drip mode. This is a way of sending out, you can highlight 1,000 people in your database or, choose a smart list or something like that, send in drip mode. And then when you do that, now you get the option of like, okay, start on this date. How much? Batch 100 at a time. Repeat every 2 hours. So, and then only do it, I don't want to send out Saturdays and Sundays, so Monday through Friday. And then start from this time and end the campaign at this time if you wanted to. So this is a way you can send 1,000 out. And it says, okay, I'm going to send 1,000 out. I'm going to start at this time, 100 first, 2 hours later, another 100, 2 hours, another 100. And then after that, by 24 hours, you would have sent out 1,000 emails. You just didn't do all 1,000 at one time and just blast everybody, which could, have you negatively affected. So that would be another way that you do that. What does it mean to email bounce? We talked about hard and soft bounces. Show the email unsubscribe. Those are those settings in the sort of sub account business settings where you can check the boxes. Make sure you do that. Oh, and one of the things that's important too is be careful. I did some testing on this. I'm not going to test this again. I know we're kind of ramping down here. We've been going for about an hour and a half, and I really appreciate those people that hung in there with me. I'll check some of the questions real quick and make sure I look at them before we're done here. But I just want to make sure I get everything on my list here. Is if you're sending out, let me show you here inside of HighLevel. If you're coming here and your default domain are going to be this right here, email.freshflowhvac.com. This is your sending domain. Now, if I were to send something, but then I'm going to send something with, my email address or, John Smith something at gmail.com, and that from address is different than the sending address, then a lot of people will just flag that as spam right away, and it'll show up in the spam folder. Let me just see. I'm not even sure if I checked on that. No, nothing showed up in here. But typically I get some messages in my spam folder here for the test account that just said, the from name domain was different than the sending domain. Like they're trying to somehow redirect you to a different site or something like that, and it's coming across as spammy. So anyway, that's what I was talking about as far as making sure that the email address that you use is like ray at email at .freshflowhvac.com or whatever your domain is. So let me just take a look here. If you have no dedicated domain, then what? What email domain is special? Okay, I think I covered all those. Can I have multiple email domains set up to send emails? No, not with at one time. Now, you under the domain configuration, you can go to those specific areas like I showed you and choose a different domain if you've already added that to it. So that's something that you could do as well. And keep in mind, I did something that's still within the same domain, but here, let me show you what I mean here. So here, if I go to dedicated domains, this right here is email.freshflowhvac.com. Over here, the one that we tested was mg.freshflowhvac.com, but what if I wanted to make it mg.freshflowhvac.net? If I still own the domain, I can still configure that domain in here, even though it's completely different than the other one. It doesn't have to be a subdomain of the same domain that I configured. As long as I own that domain, that's all I need to configure the records in here. So I could have, for instance, workflows being sent out from the mg.freshflowhvac.net domain. Why would I want to do that? I have no clue why I would want to do that. But anyway, you could if you wanted to. So, but right now, there is only one default email domain that can be set up at one time. So how do I choose my email domain name? Well, just pick one that you like, message, email, something like that, but just choose a subdomain. And then how can I get emails in my inbox and not spam? We kind of talked about that message right here. But guys, I mean, that's really about what I want to show you. Just some of the testing, some of the way you can get this stuff set up inside of your account, how to test some of these emails. So let me go ahead and just check, see if it's pretty cool. Appreciate the questions here. Let's see. So I could use dedicated domains for support webinars instead of initially planning to use a different email address. Not sure about that, James, what you mean. Could you use dedicated email for support webinars? If I would say yes, if the support and webinars are going to be using one of these particular type of let me show you here. Get back into the screen. So if you're always going to be using workflows, keep in mind, workflows, everything that comes from a workflow would be using this domain. Now, here's one of the things I didn't test here that I'll kind of go over here. If you come here to this, and well, like I said, I should have. Here inside of this, if you can configure multiple domains, and I'm getting this in yellow because I don't have a default header set on this, but you can choose a different domain here. You can have different domains, one domain here at 100%, or you can have a second domain where one is 50 and the other is 50, and then you can click on this frequency settings right here, which I should have shown you that before I deleted it, so my fault on that. But you can end up having this domain split, but I found no documentation on that, and HighLevel was not supportive at all of understanding what this was. But you can actually select more than one domain here to send this out. But sorry, James, I didn't quite get all of that. But hello, guys. How can I integrate Clover? I don't know what Clover is, so sorry about that, Eris. Sorry about that. Well, guys, thanks so much for hanging in there with me. I really appreciate it. This was fun. This was pretty cool here. But I do have another little plug here. One of the things I am starting here that I do like lives, and I like being interactive, answering people's questions here. So if this interests you right now, moving forward, probably here next month, I'm going to be doing these lives, but they're only going to be available for the members of my channel. So right now, I did turn on membership. So there's a join button here. It's like $3 a month or something like that, just to kind of help support me and the channel for providing all this content. But I'm going to be doing lives, and then moving forward, these lives are again going to be available to just the members, and then we're going to be able to create some custom members content that's going to be a little bit more informal. Something like this. Typically, the videos I publish on my YouTube channel have been edited, and they're proper, and they're very well structured. Well, this is a little bit more free flowing, goofy, and things like that. I really like to do this and be able to answer questions on the fly and get things done for those people that really need my help. But if you guys are interested, click on the button, join right now there's going to be some benefits coming, and those are going to be in the month of February, but definitely going to have some definite custom member access. You're going to get special access to my videos, so you'll see my regular videos beforehand, and then you'll be able to access the lives. Again, moving forward, these lives will only be for members, not for the public, so only members can interact and ask questions and things like that. But guys, I appreciate your support so much. You guys have no clue. The channel is doing great. YouTube is doing great on the videos, and I've gotten a lot of great feedback from you on this. I hope you found this useful. If you did, click on the like button. Leave me a comment. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed. And by all means, if you have not subscribed to HighLevel, use my link. That's another way to support me, is use my affiliate link. If you're going to upgrade to Agency Pro, use my affiliate link, please, for that. I do get credit. Or if you're going to be using the AI Employee, which, by the way, I've got a video coming out on AI Employee next week. If you're going to be utilizing that and you're going to be turning it on, there is a one-time code where you can put in a reference code. Just put in my full name, no breaks, Ray O'Daniel. And then at that point, you'll become an affiliate of mine, and you can just get all my free stuff and support. So, guys, thanks so much. I appreciate it. You guys have a terrific day. Bye-bye, guys.